Welcome to Edge of Intelligence, the podcast where we explore how strategy systems and smart technology converge to reshape modern business. I'm Carl Owen, a fractional CIO and AI advisor with Proteligen. Today, we're diving into one of the most profound frontiers in enterprise transformation, the intersection of human cognition and AI-driven insight. My guest, Alexey Sapozhnikov, is the founder and CEO of Andeavour, a platform that helps organizations operationalize intelligence, not just by automating workflows, but by aligning data, teams, and strategic goals into a living learning system. Alexey, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Well, let's start with your vision. What first inspired you to create Andeavour, and how did your background in enterprise systems and AI shape its creation?
So that's a really good question. So before actually founding Andeavour, I co-founded two companies, both in space of cybersecurity. The first was back in 2011. We found a company about monitoring of big data productions, and actually making a secure monitoring of it. The second one, which we sold in September 2020 to UK-based PE, was actually Proof.inc, and this company actually did a POC as a service platform for CISOs and CIOs. Now, in both of it, we actually use the kind of very earlier type of artificial intelligence. And I myself, by my degree, like 30 years ago, I'm the data scientist. So what I saw actually in two of those previous ventures is that companies actually have a lot of critical, disconnected, unresolvable issues in many departments. Now, it's not just one general situation when nobody knows where's the data, what we can take from the data. No. This is exactly the issue. All those problems, all those challenges are strictly disconnected one from others. And let's say CISO and CIO have one type of those problems, like fraud detection or insider threat or false positives. And sales departments and business department, they have completely different stories, and there is no similarity between them. So I thought to myself, why we cannot create a platform that will actually address all of those things separately as a multiple agentic products using maybe the same kind of algorithms, the same kind of GPUs, hardware, and basically the AI chips, but it will create like multiple, the conglomerate of multiple agentic products that each product will address its own problem separately, and it will not overload on the customer to put all the features from not related departments. No, it will create something specific for him. So that's what brings me to this idea.
Well, most companies struggle to connect their strategy to execution. People work in silos, data lives in separate systems, and decision making gets slower as organizations grow. Andeavour seems to be tackling that head on. How would you describe Andeavour's mission in a single sentence?
That's another great question. So we are operating in the domain that's called organizational intelligence, and we are defined, at least by Gartner and Google, as kind of the leaders in this domain. And then by single mission, a single sentence that define a mission, I will say that we want to provide a pinpoint, focused solution on every single critical, unresolved problem specifically per the department.
You talk about organizational. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry, Carl. I just wanted to add that I'm absolutely agree regarding this your question about the strategy. Like, what we see that the execution and enforcement of cyber strategy, IT strategy, the alignment between business goals and those strategies are something that very often we see it stand in the papers, never come to the real execution. And surprisingly, there's no many companies in this space that do anything about it. We have a kind of dedicated solution for that, but I'm absolutely agree with your vision.
Well, You talk about organizational intelligence. What does that mean in practical terms for leaders?
So in practical terms for leaders, it means that many critical issues, many critical problems that their business and their business unit experiencing can be solved by very affordable and very simple approach, even if they don't know. So it's not always about, to bringing on board some Godzilla a platform that will, I don't know, that will create some huge waves, but it can be solved with a little invasive surgery that can really provide a great result, and all based on the knowledge and data and the reality that they may be even not aware about, but they have it in their organization.
Well, how does Endeavor differ from traditional project management or collaboration tools?
We are very different. We actually concentrating on space. It's like migrated to this decision because we didn't like put the constraints for ourselves from very beginning. But now we are mostly focused on cyber. We are mostly focused on IT, on supply chain, and in those regions we are doing solutions for multiple very difficult to resolve issues like the whole adoptions of AI, including governance, intelligence, protection from shadow AI and injected AI, risk quantification, compliance monitoring, task execution, generating for SEC intelligence, false positive reduction. All that is basically separate solutions that coming to the same platform, coming to the same kind of algorithms that solving this.
Can you walk us through how an enterprise typically implements Endeavor? Like, what's the transformation journey look like?
So our idea is basically not to replace any existing platforms, but to be complementary to the existing platform. So it should not be a revolution for the enterprise to implement Endeavor. Basically, we are connecting to existing systems. Now we can connect in traditional way, or we have our own very advanced way that's called no integration, like really connecting with minimal efforts. And basically, we are enhancing the offers of existing tools to provide solution to all those things that are unresolved or host a lot of things. Now, another issue that I see, in this domain, that many times companies are so-called Godzilla product and using only a fraction of it, but paying for the whole cow. Okay, mm-hmm. So if they are using Endeavor, they are basically taking only a small fraction that they are really using for 100% and paying only for that. So that's basically the difference.
What measurable changes have you seen in companies after embedding Endeavor's platform?
That's a very, very proud moment for me, because let's take, for example, a KPI of number of alerts that that a department in cyber or IT should deal with, even after having on board things like SIEM or XDR or things like that. So I can tell that even after all that, we succeeded to reduce the number of alerts that the team should do by 50%, which is crazy. Because that's the power when you really remove all contextual false positive, you really run the way that you can tell to the agent to bring only the alerts that can be serious for the business, and you're defining it not by rules but by prompts. So that's regarding this. Now regarding the for example our supply chain anti-fraud protection, I can tell you that we significantly increase the rate of discovered fraud cases for our customers, and the KPI is very, very tangible. So I think that the working tool should provide the value in first 30 days. Like if you buy the tool and it's a long story that you need to feed the data, and only after it, maybe in half of the year, that's something not working. But in the correct approach should bring you the tangible results in the first 30 days.
Well, every business today is trying to figure out how to make AI part of their operating model, not just as a tool, but as a core intelligence layer. Endeavor seems built for that evolution. How does AI power Endeavor's core capabilities?
First of all, I totally agree, and Carl, we're absolutely on the same page about what you ask. To say that for many businesses, it's kind of the wishful thinking. They want to implement AI, they want to put it together, they want to have the AI initiative. Based on what we see, I can tell you we see two kind of customers, two extremely different type of customers. The first type is really someone exceptional who actually implemented a lot of agents, a lot of AI things in his organization, maybe used, I don't know, Salesforce or things like that, or another agentic platforms. And typically the problem for this type of customer is that those people typically doesn't have a governance for to govern all this. But the 90% of customers, of people that we see, is that those are really advanced experts and people that are very professional. But due to many reasons, they have kind of the AI strategy, but they typically don't know where the data even is in the company. And this is the first step that many of them are not really that. Now, regarding Endeavor, we are NVIDIA partners in Israel. We are the partners via their Inception program. And all of our platform is actually built on top of NVIDIA offering drivers. We are also partners with AWS startups, so we are using the AWS infrastructure, global infrastructure. And basically, all of our platform is built on advanced things from NVIDIA, like TensorRT, NIM, Triton, things like that. And on top of it, we're running our multiple agentic implementations.
Well, your platform learns from workflows and human decisions. How does that feedback loop work?
So that's a sensitive thing, and let's be exact in this domain. So the current, I think we already passed those days in AI when you have a model, and to do this model something exact in your prompts and your request, you need to train it on your data. Today, I don't think anybody is doing this, so we are also not doing this. We have a slightly changed, models like Llama 3.3, Mistral 3, Gemma, and so on. We slightly fine-tuning with the third-party cyber compliance and IT data that we bought. But we are never kind of learning from the, data of the customer, never train anything on the data of the customer. What we do is that we are using models with a huge context window, and then when the customer data come, it's actually arrived to the model, and this model also enhances itself with multiple vector databases with some information, for example, with frameworks or things that are needed to solve this particular problem. And then the context of the customer come to a model which is the expert in this domain because of the vector databases. So that's how it works.
Well, you've mentioned data a lot, and data is obviously critical to the success of all of this.
Yeah.
And it comes with struggles around quality. You've talked about governance. How do you guys ensure your AI recommendations stay trustworthy with all that?
So first of all, there are several approaches to do it. Once we always, align with the approach of reinforced learning and human in the loop. So in all of our product, the customer can come and put a feedback, and the feedback is recorded in the vector database, and then the model is like behaving according to this feedback. For any suggestion, for any actually decision that our models takes, we run a significant amount of validation things and validation rules, removing the potential not compliant things. But to eliminate the fully not qualified results, it's impossible, and no system in the world actually can do it. So that's the reality. And like you said, Carol, all started with the data. Now we are always coming with the position when we don't expect some kind of ideal data that the customer have everything, order it, we expect that everything will be like disconnected and not ordered and in bad quality. Oh, that's what we are working with, and we have enough mechanisms to take care about it and to create some to connect the dots. But even with this, with all the enhancements, with all this, yes, you need to have something that the system will understand. That's the meaning of organizational intelligence. It's intelligence based on what you have in your organization.
Well, AI is changing everything, and it's changing so fast. How do you see AI changing the way leadership teams think about decision making and alignment?
So that's a tough question, and I will explain why. Because we are not talking these days about just AI or even just generative AI. We are talking about agentic AI. We are talking about potential AGI, about potential ASI, which is the artificial superintelligence. The issue is that today we see that AI from the advisor become actually the agent, the worker, the digital workforce. So it's still not there. It still cannot really replace the professional of mid-senior level or even of associate level, maybe only some variation. And I actually don't know how much time it will take from this stuff to actually to do it. I don't think we need to think that it's going very, very fast without any limit. Yes, we have a limit. But I think the biggest problem of how the leadership is actually looking on this is that what one of my friends, who is, for my opinion, number one expert in AI in Israel, a PhD. So he called it unrealistic expectation from AI. And that's what I'm fully agree. So in many cases, the business leaders look on this as something that should enhance everything, cut cost by 90% or 99%, and actually do. Now that is unrealistic expectation. Okay, be yes able to do things much faster today with AI. Everyone who is actually running with it can increase its own throughput, his own throughput, very significant. And there is really a big opportunities to automate, enhance, create new things with the AI, but to really, replace a significant amount of workforce at this time, I don't think it's something that tangible. However, what we see is that happened with agentic AI, not before. Happened a lot of new kind of attacks in cyber, that new forms of attacks that come as a race of this kind of artificial intelligence, agentic AI, that basically execute what you say, but it's not execute exactly what you say. It's execute the understanding of what you say. So that's what's already happening, and we see that it's really something that already start to occur. So the business leadership, I think, in many cases, have some kind of unrealistic expectation with what it really provides today.
I agree about the unrealistic expectations. Absolutely. Well, you've been successful, obviously, in building an AI-ready organization. What advice would you give other executives who are trying to do the same?
So I think that the advice will be very simple. When you need a surgery, go to doctor. When you need a cyber protection, go to experienced cyber expert. And when you need to put things in AI highway, go to a company that know how to do it. Because the problem that, and that may be different from cyber or another thing, that doing things not correctly with AI can lead to all the problems in the world. Breaches, huge financial losses, and I will not advise to anyone who actually didn't do a really, enterprise level of projects in this domain to make some experiments, and because of job security, to try to run it with the internal team. I believe that it's better to outsource this job to specialists who actually have a track record, who know what exactly the way for your organization to do it, and really minimize the risks.
I agree. Technology adoption is easy to talk about, but organizational transformation is always the hard part. At least that's been my experience. Cultural alignment and operational clarity often determine whether AI actually delivers the value that it professes to. What are some of the largest barriers you've seen when organizations try to operationalize intelligence?
So, we practically, I will not say that we see something, because we already are coming to organizations that, define the need. We are working with great teams that are really want to use it and really, learn from it and receive additional power from it. So we, especially like Endeavor, we don't see much. But what I hear from multiple, customers and multiple people that are connected to us, that in many cases, because of kind of disconnect in company culture, people are afraid from AI. People are afraid to adopt it. People are thinking about job security. Now, this is something which is very counterproductive for all the parts, for the business management, for the people themselves. It's like, you cannot stop the river. So it will come. You cannot stop it. So the right approach is to learn it, is to operate it, and to actually use it and understand that this is not a threat. But unfortunately, in many organizations, we see it. We see, and I'm hearing those complaints every day. That's what can you share?
To that point, how do you help those leaders and teams that come to you? How do you help them adapt to working alongside AI insights?
So I think the right approach is to learn to teach people actually how to operate, and to explain the main issue is to explain to people that it cannot replace them. It cannot replace them. It's also not built this way that it will replace them. It will just open new opportunities for them. And when we are talking about cutting costs, it's not to cut them. It's to give them the opportunity to do more with less efforts. That's all. So I think that's such a simple thing. Many of in the organization not always can transmit each to other.
Well, are there any particular patterns in how high-performing organizations use Endeavor differently?
Yes. So, I can tell you that typically when our salespeople, our SDRs are talking with the leads, so what they see in the serious organization, and that first of all, the organization at least know the critical problems they want to solve, and the ideal case for Endeavor is like, look, I don't want to bring another 10 people to solve this issue. I want with the existing workforce to have a very small toy that will provide, a nuclear bomb effect, and really remove this problem, this headache from my shoulders. Okay, so typically the serious organization, they have a list of existing problems they want actually to remove, and this is something that this talk now. It can be always in cyber or IT or whatever. It can be something that, like we said, in intelligence of task executions. It can be something in business enablement. It can be something in risk evaluations. It can be something in giving solutions for many unexpected, specifically vertical problems, for example, in financial area, many examples. So they typically, right organization already have a list of the things. And another threat that I think in high performing organization is that people understand that such a massive things in the AI initiative cannot be like disconnected each from other, and you need a governance, Houston. You need a control center that will operate all of it. And if, for example, you need to put a policy for all of your AI tools in various forms, you need to have a single window that you need to use that you can do it. So that's a threat.
How do you guys measure success? Is it at Endeavor? Is it Productivity, alignment, speed of decision making, something else?
So first of all of it, like the alignment with the initial goal, because I think no deal that we did is signed without understanding what the expected goal, what the expected result from the product, and what product should provide. And usually it's something very very tangible, something very concrete. Typically the team was processing, I don't know, 500,000 alerts a day. Today, after using the information security governance and intelligence from Andeavour, I can process thousands because the rest are not relevant, and we have proofs why they are not relevant. So that's kind of the key. So it's always something very concrete. And in addition, the big issue with the business enablement is actually the quantification. So, it's not a secret that the techie people and the business people, they are speaking different languages, and that the common base is always the money. So I think that, all those things can be easily translated to the number of money that's saved or to potential risks that eliminated, and those risks are not in percentage, but in, or in some scores, but in money. And that's also something very, very measurable. Here today, so many stories about, companies that are running a very complex POCs with some huge platforms, and eventually it fails. I think the more simple it is and the more small is the approach, the more successful it is. So that's my vision.
We talked about trust and AI a little bit. What
Yeah.
role do you think transparency plays in building organizational trust around AI-driven recommendations?
So I think is a big issue, and I think the reasoning feature in many AI models is actually something that built this kind of trust. Like when the customers see how the models are getting to the decision, what is the reasoning behind the operations, I think it's giving like much more trust to the decision and why it's actually arrived. So that's one. Second is basically the ability of make and interrupt, an ability to make a reinforced learning, and an ability to put the feedback from the customer and to see that the results are changing based on the feedback. So all that is giving, the trust, the trust and the transparency in the thing. In general, in mathematics, there is the whole existing theory how to evaluate quality of the models, and how to evaluate if the model really understand the data and really provide the answer. So this is, the whole mathematical theory, different, KPIs that can be measured for this. But the most simple is to see the reasoning behind the.
I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. You've said that Andeavour aims to be the operating system for organizational intelligence. That's a bold vision and one that redefines how work gets done. What do you see, or what does the future of organizational intelligence look like to you in the next 5 years?
I think that this domain, and that's already what I see, with when I'm looking on our competitors. I think this domain is very promising, and I think this domain we will see a lot of new applications, a lot of new approaches. And again, you cannot, it's a huge domain. We are touching on the part of it, which is like more, IT, cyber, compliance, risk, supply chain. But for example, not things like marketing or sales or whatever. So I definitely see space for much more players in this domain, and I already see players that are coming. But if I'm looking on the whole vision about what it should to where it should arrive, I think that it should increase the power of internal investments of organizations to the new heights. Because I'm absolutely, before I became the entrepreneur, I actually worked for at least three Nasdaq trade companies in Israel, and, for example, for SAP, for General Electric. So I remember examples, and I saw in the companies that I didn't work. And many examples that the things can be done better if more data decisions, more AI artificial decisions will be available on the spot. Basically, I worked like 20 years ago for them, so I believe they're doing it today. But what I'm trying to say that we are entering into the era of artificial superintelligence, artificial general intelligence. I believe that for every dollar that the organization is investing, it should get much more high return than now because of this, because of organizational intelligence.
Well, you're on the front line of some of this. So, how do you see the relationship between human intuition and
That's a superb and very thin material. What is our brain? Our brain is a kind of huge neural, the world of neural networks. So many things are working very similarly. Between our brain, which is still something that is the existing models are not in this power. So basically, human intuition in many cases is the result of analysis of many, activation functions and data points and and previously trained neurons that we couldn't explain in each concrete, but there is a reason why we intuitively think that, I don't know, the outcome of this process will be like that or like that, because we already have a training set of our brain, our experience that can teach us. And that's why, when we are advancing with the age, we can get a better decision because we have the bigger training set of what we did. The young people not always have it. That's maybe the thing. But that's a great the great angle, because the human brain is still much more powerful than any AI, and the AI can work faster, but the human brain have features that the AI still don't have, like empathy, like the emotional sensitivity. So the volume is much bigger.
Yep. What industries do you think will benefit most from this kind of intelligence first infrastructure?
Look, so first of all, the current situation is that many industries are not touched at all. So we have the industries which are always on the front line of any innovation, because they are buying a lot of solutions like IT, cyber, even sales or marketing, or I don't know. But many industries, which is like more traditional, more hardware, okay, more SMBs, they're not touched to this. And I believe it will come to things like, I don't know, to give some examples. So I don't know, for the construction, it will come like much more deeper than today. For oil and gas, it should come much more deeper than today. And we have already companies that are doing things in AI in this space, but still not in the true level of its power. So all the traditional industries will continue to be disrupted. There's a lot of processes there that can be improved, can be run much more seriously using these new opportunities.
Are there any exciting product innovations or partnerships on the horizon for Andeavour?
Yes, always. So we recently we entered to the two new spaces, which is for me is very exciting. So, for example, we our cyber agent for marketplaces, okay, and we are continue to gather new partnerships. So we are already in partnership with Shopify, but we are discussing partnership with several other giants in this domain. Because what we actually discover is that infrastructure of many applications marketplace for many giants, they have a need for this stuff. And when we are coming with our offering to those tools, it's always something that we can find the things that we can improve there. So that's one. Second, we are entering to the whole domain of financial services. And there we found a lot of things that, untouched, and we are improving them. For example, the things in the financial management that's called NIGO, which is the not in good order notation. We actually are we are helping with this issue. So that's that's just a few the few new picks from what we are doing. But yes, we are always on the front line of the opportunity.
Well, let me throw a hypothetical at you. If you could redesign how every company made decisions, what would that look like?
If I could redesign how every company make decisions, look, I think that that's a tough question. I don't know, actually. I think that my vision is that the large enterprises should aim to behave much more as startups. And I think the startup model is much more productive. We learned today that Andy Jassy said that he wants actually Amazon to become the biggest startup in the world. I'm 100% on the same page with this vision. When I worked for SAP, like 20 years ago, I remember that this company amazed me how it's like saved this air of startup having so huge headcount. So I think the atmosphere of creativity, the atmosphere when every person actually see the path, how he can express itself and actually, and produce the value inside of the company, I think it's very, very critical. Now, that's regarding, the general, decision making. And definitely, I think that today, every company should use the internal knowledge, the internal data, the internal existing assets much more wisely to bring much higher ROI for every investment they are doing. And there is all the things, but it's also important to move fast with it. So all the breaks in the road should be removed, because I think the winners will just realize it faster, do it faster, and provide the faster results. That's all. That's what I think.
Well, you guys, like I said earlier, are at the forefront of
Yeah.
integrating AI into some of these businesses. So you've got a lot of experience with that. So if there's one shift that has pointed out to you that leaders need to make to prepare their organizations for this new age, right? This new age of intelligence, what would that be?
Yeah. I think the one shift that I will recommend to do to organization is really to define, on the high level, the domains that must be optimized, automated, and actually have the steroid injections of AI initiative from very beginning, and then define a concrete working plan how to do it and in which time frame to do it, and stick to this working plan, because that's something that I think it's very important, just to make a decision from very beginning that the company investing money in this, that this is the top priority, and otherwise, it can be even late with all those things.
Alexey, this has been an inspiring look into the future of organizational intelligence. It's clear that Andeavour isn't just about better systems, it's about creating better decisions with faster alignment and more adaptive enterprises. If someone wants to find out more about you or Andeavour, where should they go?
So it's, I'm available on LinkedIn, okay, and we have a great website, okay, Andeavour. You can just go to our link. You can find us on LinkedIn. We have multiple forms and multiple, ways to reach us. And, it's always a pleasure to talk with people and to see how we can assist in anything.
Great. And if your company is exploring how to operationalize AI and data-driven strategy, that's what we can help with at Bertelligent. Until next time, ask better questions, build smarter systems, and stay on the edge of intelligence. Thank you, Alexey.
Thank you, Carl. Amazing interview, and thank you for your very tough questions, and I enjoyed very much.